Hello and welcome to Devotion to Writing, a channel devoted to helping you cultivate a daily writing practice and realize that you are creative abundance. You already have inside of you, you already know everything that you need in order to write. Now, a lot of people will teach you the craft of writing. This channel is devoted to what I think is much more difficult than the craft, and that is getting yourself seated and writing and cultivating a daily writing practice. Most of what stops people from writing is not that they don't know the craft, that they don't know how to write, that they can't write. What stops most people from writing is the getting in the seat, putting pen to page, and starting. That is the most difficult thing to overcome. And in this video, I want to talk about some of the things that we resist, this resistance that comes up around our writing, how we can get through those creative blocks, those mental blocks that we have around our own creativity and our own writing, and actually get to the page and begin to enjoy, that's right, enjoy the process of writing. So to that, this video is really about how words are more than skin deep. Ocean Vuong, who's a wonderful poet and novelist, and I highly encourage getting his books, Ocean Vuong. He says, we can touch one another, but it is only to the skin that we reach, right? We touch each other at the skin, but with words. What we say when we are truly writing, when we have truly felt the language that we that is within us, that names our experience, then this real honest and vulnerable language that we have, when we give that to another, we go directly into one another. We penetrate the skin into the heart of the other. And other than silence, words of this deep nature are the best way that we have to connect to the heart of one another. At the page, we aren't merely writing to pass the time, right? It isn't some silly hobby that we have or some frivolous thing that we do to waste time, right? When we are writing, we are at work on our heart and our soul, and I think this is what can make it so difficult and why resistance comes up for many of us. Is it's not like putting a puzzle together. It's not something you can do without your full body, without your mind, without your heart, without your spirit. When we write, we must be fully engaged, and that is a difficult thing, and it can be uncomfortable. And that's one of the hurdles we have, one of the resistances we have to overcome. To find that joy, to be comfortable in our own skin, to be comfortable with our own emotions and our own sensations, and to be able to sit long enough to begin to articulate what it is that is flowing through us. At the page, we are learning to listen, we are learning to see, and then we are learning to articulate what is real for us, what it is we are experiencing, the joy, the pain, the ineffable power of our existence and our very aliveness. And it is our job at the page when we are writing to sink down below the cliche and the superficial and get to the heart of that aliveness, our own uniqueness, our own unique experience of consciousness, to be able to say for us, it is this. This is the experience of now. This is my experience of what I'm feeling. This is my experience of looking outside and seeing these flowers. When we communicate on that level, that is when we pierce the skin of another and are able to communicate what it is for all of us to be alive, to be human. And when we do this just for ourselves, and first and foremost, I have to say, you must write first for yourself. But when we commune on that level, and it is a communion with the deepest part of us. It is our communion with our being. To be thinking of anything other than what is before us, what is in our heart, what is coming to our mind, what is at hand, what is stirring our spirit. To be thinking of things like, is this good? Is anyone going to read this? Can I make money at it? To do that is to dishonor this truly, truly deep moment of communion with what is becoming, with our being. It is to dishonor this. We have no business distracting ourselves with these ancillary things. We need to learn to enjoy the writing for ourselves. Not because we're going to make money, not because we're going to be famous, not because people are going to read it, not even because what we write will be good or bad. It doesn't matter. We need to cultivate the enjoyment of being with ourselves for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever time you have at the page to really be in communion and sink down into what is happening for you. So I was just talking with a friend of mine yesterday, and maybe that is why I decided to make this video about this specific subject, but in having this conversation with him, I recognized so much, first of all, in my own writing journey and in my own struggles to write and cultivate my devoted practice. Because every time we get together, he tells me that he wants to write. And I believe him. He's earnest. I can actually feel his passion for writing. I see it. I know that he would love to write. And I said to him, that fire, that thirst, that desire, that call to pay attention, to write, obey that. That's all you have to worry about. You don't even have to worry about it, just obey it. As soon as I say that to him, he begins to give me all these reasons that he's not writing. And though he has all the time, he's retired, he has time to write, he has money, he continues, and this is his own admission, he makes the choice not to write every day. And so he is just left with this desire, unfulfilled desire to write. And I said to him, maybe you're really just addicted to the desire and to the unfulfilled dream of writing. And we can be addicted to our own stuntedness. We can be addicted to just desiring to write. I know I was. I felt every day, I want to write, I want to write, I want to write. And I had a great friend, a teacher who challenged me, which changed my life, challenged me to write every day. And he pointed out the same thing to me. He's like, you say you always want to write. I think you might be addicted to just the fantasy of writing. See if you can actually write. Sit down every day and write. And so in a way, I feel like I was passing that challenge on to my friend, saying to him, don't be addicted to the dream, to the unfulfilled desire to write, actually write. And, the reasons keep coming for him, and he's going through all of his reasons that he's not writing, and these change daily for him. They range from he doesn't have a clear idea of what he is writing or should be writing. He has a definition of what it is to be productive. And I think this is a big thing for a lot of people, especially in our society. We feel like we're not being productive unless we are writing toward a certain project or product or book or a way that we're going to show that where we've spent our 15 minutes today was productive in a sense of productivity. But this is only in the marketplace that we think about productivity, because what might be productive to the marketplace isn't necessarily productive for your soul, for your being, and vice versa. What is productive for your soul or your being, like taking a walk in the woods or going to the beach or writing, delving into one's soul and seeing what words are there, mining one's expression for language, isn't considered productive by the marketplace. So productivity is, that idea, we have to see what our idea of productivity is. And then the other thing that he has is this clear objective. Like he has to know that he has an idea before he starts. And I say, just write first. Like you're stopping yourself with all of these conditioned thoughts around writing about what it has to be, how it has to look, and whether it's productive or not. And meanwhile, you're not doing any writing. Why don't you just get to the page first, write a bunch of things, and then if you need to think about what it might be, you can do it. But first, write. First and foremost, write, and write every day. Then you'll have at least material that you can make a decision about, is this going to be a book? Do I want to share it with anyone? All of us have these assortments of notions about writing and creativity that keep us from writing, and they can be subtle. They can beat us over the head and be obvious, but many of them are just these very subtle inner resistances. And it can be a daily battle. It is a daily battle that we have to wage against this resistance in order to write. And I encourage you, start paying attention to these subtle forms of resistance in you. Make notes, actually write them down and incorporate them into what you write today and write tomorrow. Bring them into what you are writing about so that you can identify this resistance in you. And once you've identified them, you can acknowledge these and acknowledge how they keep you from writing so that you can write through them instead of having them actually stop you. And subtle things, like it could be anything, like I just don't have enough time. Well, we actually do have enough time. We have 15 minutes, as I've said in other videos. You have enough time to boil a pot of water for coffee. You could be writing during that time that the water is boiling. You have enough time to scroll your news feed or check your social media. You could make the choice to be writing during that time. We can find time to write. And now you might say something else. Well, I'm tired, or yeah, I have time, but I don't have any ideas. Again, these are just little forms of resistance. If you actually sat down at the page and began to write, ideas would come. And if it didn't the first day or the second day or the third day, by the fourth day or the fifth day, I guarantee you that things will start to come. And you don't have to know what. Surprise yourself. Furthermore, these little forms of resistance, they just keep us from joy, from our joyous expression, from just play. And as I said to my friend, writing is already in you. It's already calling to you. It's already a desire. So you have that in your favor. And if you're watching this video, I'm assuming that you already have this within you. You already feel this desire, this passion, this need, this calling. You don't need to learn anything else. You don't need to do anything else. You don't have to prepare anymore. You just have to write. You've heard the call. You're hearing the desire. It lights you up. I know when you talk about it, you get excited. When you think about it, you get excited. But when you actually are faced with the page, when you're faced with the silence and that blank page and actually have to sit down and write, all of that resistance can come and steal your joy. Steal your joy. This isn't good. I don't know what I'm doing again. All of these things, we all have our own litany of these stealers of our joy. They steal our creative. They steal that moment. They steal from us that moment when we are inspired. When we could say anything, do anything, they rush in and they say, who's going to like that? And it's done. We've killed it. So we have to overcome these resistances. How? Well, it's really as simple as it is difficult. The cure is the poison, right? Just right. Yeah, so you say, but that's exactly what I'm struggling with, writing. I can't seem to get to the page and write. Exactly. The cure for not writing, for the struggle, for the block, for the resistance, for feeling inadequate as a writer, for feeling unproductive, is to write every day. Find 15 minutes every day. Now, I know it is hard, and that is why I started Devotion to Writing, because plenty of people can offer you advice on, how do you write plot, how do you write metaphors, how do you develop characters, but very few people are talking about how we overcome our blocks and our resistance. We just have to begin. Make it a choice, make it a lifestyle, cultivate your practice, begin to commune with what you are, creative, joyous, irrepressibly becoming this creative energy. So come to write for yourself. And I'll tell you, as I told my friend, and as I've told myself 100 times, come to the page, learn to commune, get your hands down in the soil of you, and dig up the words that live there in the soil, and feel them, smell them, and breathe them all the richness that you are. And out of this labor, you will discover a few beautiful words, a few utterances which you may share with another. This lived with experience of yourself you may share with another person, and these will touch them through their skin and reach their heart, and it'll be your heart reaching out to merge with theirs. So I challenge you to write every day this week. Do not concern yourself with your resistances. These are trivial things. Don't worry about publication. Don't worry about what it is. Don't worry about if it's good. Your job is to show up and pay attention to yourself for 15 minutes a day and find these words within you that sing you and communicate these to another. Our work is not marketing. It is not productivity. It is connection. So this week I challenge you to write every day. Write every day. Write every day. I'd love to know how you do. I hope you write deeply. I hope you write deeply. I know that if you write, it will be beautiful, because beautiful is what you are. Blessings. Thanks for watching.